Archbishop and members of the press, I'm frankly relieved to be at this point of the conference because for me this has been the agenda that has filled my life for a long period of time and commenced at the Lambeth Conference in 1998 when I chaired the environment section of that conference. I'm often asked by the press, why is the church interested at all? Because aren't you really so focused upon the saving of souls? And I think the church only has itself to blame in the wider world for giving that impression, because so often that seems to be the message that we give. But the reality is that the care for the total environment is always has been part of the tradition of our church. It's the biblical base upon which we stand. And so part of my job here is to remind the bishops of that fact. This is our core business theologically. I've done a little bit of that in some of the sessions which I've had the privilege of some input, and to try to get the bishops to understand this is something that they have no option but to take up, not because of what the world says, but because of what is inherent in our faith. I'm also absolutely convinced by the moral argument of climate change, and if those of you who were present for the session last night would have heard the professor say that at the end of the day, if we are going to make some significant progress internationally, globally, then it will have to come from some moral persuasion, because frankly politics and economics won't drive it. And most of you would be well aware of that, at least in the Western world, that no political entity at the moment is seriously taking up this matter. They are peripherally, but not centrally, not sufficiently. The kind of targets that we need to set internationally are not being heavily driven by any major government in the world. And so the moral argument has to be persuasive, and moral leadership needs to be given. And that's one of the roles, not exclusively of the church, but the church needs to lend its weight to the overall moral argument that is provided worldwide so that we can take steps. The third area which I'm personally interested in is the actual timescale in which we have opportunity. From my own position theologically, I believe that choice is one of the great gifts that God has given to us, and there are choices available to us at the moment in this area that will not be available in a few years' time. Such is the progress of the change that is taking place on the face of the planet, and we need to maximise the choices that are available now, and the price that we'll pay if we don't is so much greater. I've been somewhat saddened since in the time I've been here in the UK to hear that it appears that the political feeling in the UK is that people are under so much pressure economically that we can't afford to take steps in the environmental area. And it's such a short-sighted position, because the price that we'll pay long term will be so much greater. I'm interested in the heritage of the next generation, and realising that the present generation has no right to steal its inheritance. I'm interested in the reality that at the moment I come from Australia, and Australia's footprint per head of population is the highest in the world, I think exceeding your own. But mainly because we're a coal-based economy. And so Australia has to reduce its footprint very significantly, and I spent a lot of time in my own diocese back in Australia in putting pressure on the government to do that. So, ladies and gentlemen of the press, I think they're my few words of introduction. We've come without a prepared statement for the Lambeth bishops to sign up to, but since last night and this morning, a significant number of bishops, as well as you guys, are pressing for that, and I'm intending to gather a meeting of bishops on Tuesday of next week where we will actually work on a statement, because we need to say something clearly to our communion apart from to the rest of the world. So that hopefully will be available next week. Thank you.